doing deals with seller financing. What's happening, YouTube? It's Matt Faircloth. Thank you for watching Mentorship Monday. My name is Matt. My company is called the DeRosa Group, and I am here to talk to you guys about some real estate lessons. Today's question comes from Vernon. Vernon sent his question in to helpme@derosagroup.com. That's what you guys should do if you got questions you want them answered on the YouTube channel. That is helpme@derosagroup.com. And I'll answer them right here for y'all to learn from right here on the real estate on the YouTube channel. By the way, if you like what I talk about and you're not subscribing on this channel, do yourself a favor, do me a favor, and subscribe to this channel right now. While I'm talking, right now, hit that little subscribe button somewhere in this area, okay? Now, Vernon wants to know, hey man, I've been reading about people doing deals with owner-seller financing for multifamilies to avoid the 20 to 25% down payments. There's many offers on Craigslist like this in my area. I want to know your pros and cons of this approach. Okay, so first of all, this is seller financing is just simply the seller holding, they call it holding paper, holding the mortgage, loaning you the money really for the property, and you just pay them over time an interest rate. Maybe it amortizes, meaning you slowly pay the loan off. Maybe it's just interest only, okay? It's a good thing to do. I've done deals with seller financing. I've never done a 0% money down seller financing deal. That's maybe a pipe dream, maybe possible, but that's what Vernon's referring to here. Here are, okay, I'll give you guys the whole nuts, the whole thing on soup to nuts on seller financing. Here's how you negotiate it. First of all, if you're dealing with a real estate agent, odds are you're not going to get a seller financing deal because they're going to view that as complicated and there's something that might not get to closing. And so they're probably going to screen that and filter it. So if you ask the real estate agent, they're going to say, probably, no, they're not going to do that. The only way I've been able to negotiate seller financing deals myself is by talking to the seller directly, okay? And there are a lot of tactics that you can use to ask if they'll do seller financing. One good one that I've heard is, well, how much are you asking for the property? I'm asking $100,000. Okay, great. How much do you need right now? Well, that's a good question. I mean, I guess I need, $30,000 to pay off the real estate to pay off the tax bill I might owe on the properties and to pay income taxes and to, do XYZ I wanted to do out of the sale. That's really all I need is $70,000. Okay, great. What if I give you $30,000 now and you loan me the $70,000 and I'll pay it back. I'll pay you $70,000 over 5 years or over, or I'll pay you $70,000 5 years from now and I'll send you a monthly check, whatever it is. You've run to speak to the seller in the realm of cash flow, in the realm of monthly checks. That's the sticking point. That's what they're going to want to hear. And they're also going to want to hear how you're going to get them out. And that gets all the way back to Vernon's question, because any seller is not going to want to hold paper for you. It's an anomaly if you're going to convince a seller to hold a mortgage long term, 30 years, something like that, 30-year fix. They're not going to do that. They'll probably hold it for 5 years, maybe 10, but probably more like 3 to 5 years if you're lucky. And there's all kinds of things you want to negotiate, what the interest rate is, if it amortizes, everything like that. So that's all great. What's good about seller financing, here's the pros that Vernon had asked this, is that obviously you're not having to deal with a bank, you're not getting your credit run, you're not having to deal with an appraisal, you don't have to deal with all the hoops that you have to jump through to get a deal to closing and dealing with a bank. You're just dealing, you and the buyer and seller negotiating the terms of the purchase, right? And the seller financing becomes part of that. That's all the good stuff. What people perceive to be the good stuff, and this is in Vernon's question, is that you can buy real estate with no money down, meaning like, oh, okay, let me go and buy a multifamily for X amount of dollars. I'm going to borrow 70% from the bank, and the seller's going to lend me 25%, 30% on the back end, which means I can buy an apartment building or a big size multi with very little money down. Okay. The con to this, is called a few cons. I have yet to see a bank be acceptable to a second mortgage behind their first mortgage coming from the seller. They want to see skin in the game. That's what a bank wants to see. They're going to want to see you as the buyer write a check, produce money, whether it's from your investors or from your own pocket or whatever, to go and lay down and buy on the property. Okay, there are always outliers. There's always anomalies. There's always like, well, somebody in the comment section, tell me a story of when you did a seller financing deal and you had it done at 100%. I want to hear about it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I haven't seen it. And I've definitely not seen a bank be okay with a second mortgage in place from the seller because they want to see skin in. That's number one. If you are okay, if you can find a bank that's willing to do it, or if you can get a seller that's willing to loan you a lot of money on the property, the biggest problem you got, here's another con, is that you've got to have a solid exit strategy. You've got to be able to add value. You've got to be able to get the price up on the property to the point where you can refinance to get them out. Or you got to just simply make some cash flow for a while and then sell, whatever it is. But you've got to find a way to get that seller out because they're not going to want to hold paper for 30 years on a 30-year amortization schedule. They're going to want to get the rest of their money and go away, right? And so you've got to find a way to get them out, whether that's through paying off the mortgage over time. I've seen people offer sellers. I heard of a seller taking this. Seller held $100,000. And the buyer said, well, what if I paid you $1,000 for 100 months? And they said, that's great. I'd do that. It's a 0% interest loan. First of all, that's a pretty good deal. The seller of the property was only making like $900. The property only makes $900 in rent. So the buyer was willing to forego $100 out of their pocket every month, but the seller was giving an interest-only mortgage, which was more than what the rent on the property was. So good deal, and the buyer had to eat the expenses in there too. But then after let's say about 7 years, for 8 years they get the property free and clear. That's pretty cool. In that, so that's a 0% interest loan, and you can word it that way. So there's all kinds of different ways to structure. But bottom line, the biggest thing you've got to figure out for seller financing is how you're going to get them out through a sale, paying it down over time, like I just described, or by adding value and refinancing them out of the deal. That's probably what not enough people think about when they want to do seller financing. Vernon, I'm not accusing you, but some people like yourself want to get into a deal by laying no money down and using seller financing as a way to cover the 20 to 25%. But you got to think about, great, now you're in with no money down, but you got to get that seller out of there, out of that deal at some point. So that's what I got for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe like the video, subscribe to the channel, and send your questions to help me at DeRosaGroup.com, and I will answer them right here on the YouTube channel for you and everyone else to learn from. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great and profitable week.